my name is Kim Lapine. I'm the Communications and Engagement Manager for FAS, which is the Financial and Administrative Services here at UCSF. I think for the most part, one of the things that's important to know about where I'm coming from, I come from a really small town of, less than 700 people in Kentucky, and it's a pretty poor area, and, no one has a lot, really just surviving. So I think that I am so grateful for my childhood, but a lot of the name in the game is just surviving. You're poor, there's not much education, there aren't a lot of jobs, they don't pay a lot. So it's just the fact that you're really struggling, you're just trying to survive, and there's really just not, you don't think about yourself. And it's through that lens. And my mother had me when she was really young. She was just barely 16 and was a child herself, hadn't even finished high school, went on to get her GED, but just having that kind of a very tough life. She had a lot of trauma in her life, and just a lot of hardships and trauma. And I think seeing her, you just stuff it down. That's our culture. You survive, you pick yourself up. It's like you don't have the luxury to really think about, how are you doing? How are yourself? Nobody has insurance, at the time. They probably do now, but at the time, you don't have insurance. I never even heard of a counselor. I didn't know anyone who even went to a counselor. I didn't know anyone who even really sought access. It's kind of emergency room, if you're ill. So I think it's just that just isn't what you do. You just survive, you get on through your day, you work hard, you put your head down, and you move on. But of course, one of the things I learned is that only works for so long. So kind of our family and our culture of where we're from, and also our family of like stuffing things down, eventually you're going to stuff it down and it's going to really explode on you. And I think for me, my mom is the way that I saw her really go through all this trauma and all this crisis. And I didn't really even understand what was happening for mental health. Everything was just a blur. And there were a lot of big events that, are like, oh, you could write a book about that. But I also always saw her pick herself back up. And so I got that strength from there. As I got older, I realized that, you're really not taking care of business. And I started, as a lot of people do, in my 20s, and also having my own trauma. My mom and I have some family shared history, and then our own instances, and just pushing it down and pushing it down and pushing it down. And my mom and I both, at this time in our life, different events really kind of made us face it, because it's just too much, and then you just break. For my mom, it was really the culmination. She's had so much. I just feel like, she's been through so much. I'm so proud of what she's persevered, but she's been very resistant. Like, knowing that has these kind of textbook things in her life that you need help with, completely resistant, would not even talk about it, because for her, the pain is just keep it down and go on. But when she got to the stage in her life where her husband, and she's been married a few times, but she had a long-term partner in her life for about 40 years and was just a very important part. And when he died, she had also sold her restaurant, which is something that had been with her for decades. There was a lot of loss and just that letting go. And emotionally, here's this strong rock of a woman, just got herself to a point where it just didn't think that she was going to be able to make it. And there have been a lot of moments. This is a constantly trying thing for her. But one of the things that happened in her life was when she went into a primary care visit, she actually had what they call a warm handoff, which is someone noticed that she's having this extreme anxiety. She called it her black heart, or her high anxiety, and just kind of labeled it as that. But they actually walked her from that appointment. She's completely resistant to counseling, would never go, walked her in to see a psychologist. And just to how amazing it was to be able to have someone right there, that she didn't have any barriers. She was able to talk to someone who recognized okay, you're on some of this medication, but really you need a more holistic approach to everything that's happening. And ultimately from that, she was diagnosed with bipolar. And it was actually somewhat of a relief because, you know, she just thought, oh, I'm just crazy, or I have this, or just, you know, I've just had a hard life, or I just don't deal with things very well, or I'm not good at relationship. I'm just not good at life. But in fact, learning that there's a real reason. It's the best thing you can do. Just improve one little thing, and then maybe you'll be strong enough, and then maybe you can tackle that next little thing, and then you'll be stronger, and then you tackle the next little thing, and then when you look behind you, gosh, you've tackled like a couple little things, and now you're feeling better. And you feeling better, gosh, you can do a lot more when you're healthy, or whatever that means. I think then you're got that momentum. Then you can do more, and it's a cycle that feeds itself in a positive way. I think that's been my experience.